Hello everyone, my name is Ark and welcome back to another SH Figuarts review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 December re-release of Monkey D. Luffy Gear 5. Now, I've heard so many controversial things about this figure, and I'm honestly quite excited about it. Mostly because he actually comes with a stand from what I see right in the back. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say. I hear that he's okay, he's not the greatest figure, and that this thing right here has so many issues, like the actual cloudy look. So, without further ado, let's take this guy out and see how he looks. Alright, so here we have Gear 5 Luffy. And I gotta say, he definitely is a weird one because he is made out of rubber. Shockers, right? He is the rubber boy, so he's always been referred to as the rubber boy. So why is he not made out of rubber every single time? Well, he's made out of a bendable material for not only the arms, but also the legs. As you can see, it's pretty much just solid plastic that you can bend throughout. Now, before we actually get into the articulation section, because it's a little bit weird and a couple of odd choices, especially around this area, have been made. Now, aesthetic-wise, I think he looks great. I think the white cloud should have been the same color as his hair. That way it didn't really, take away from it. Or, yeah, I would say take away from it. And this should have been a whole entire, piece in itself. Something that you should have probably been able to take off and everything like that, because I did hear people had issues with this breaking off right out of the box, at least from what I heard initially. A couple of other things, I don't know if this is meant to be here, but there's always a cut on the arm sleeve, so that is definitely weird. Let me see if I can get a better look for this one. Oh, that's better. Okay, so yeah, he realistically has a cut right here, and as you can see, his cloud thing is attached to the chest that you can remove, at least from the looks of it. Does not seem to be something that should be removable, but it is. So just to take it off real quick and not have as many issues with it. I don't know if it's meant to be removed. The box does not say, at least from the looks of it so far. Yeah, it doesn't say anything in the box. It only has the stand and everything of the sorts. So, this guy, aesthetic-wise, he looks fine. The pure white works. The hair being completely different in terms of the white, I really like. Because sometimes it can be a little bit iffy when it comes to those type of figures. So, the white suit also looks great. I love that they made a little indentations for the actual buttons. So there is that. The actual articulation of this guy is weird. So let's move on to that right away. For the head, let me actually take a look what he has, because I'm actually intrigued. I am not too familiar with this figure. I didn't really watch that many reviews. So he has a double ball peg, as you can see. Very nice, very simple. Pretty much what should be the standard for all figures, with good neck articulation as well. So looking down, pretty good. I like that. Very nice. Looking up, also pretty decent. So neck articulation and head articulation, not bad. You can look side to side and rock it side to side as well. And of course, back and forth. You can do whatever you want with this guy. Now, I do have his smiling face because that's how he came out of the box. So that's how I'm reviewing him. For the belt, it does swivel. The ab crunch, you can go forward this much. So they didn't just do rubber for the ab crunch. It's an actual functioning ab crunch. So going forward about that much, going backwards, pretty decent. So ab crunch is pretty good. Legs, so there's a reason why I'm kind of skipping on the arms and also the legs as well. Legs, he can definitely do the splits, although I did hear that there were some issues with breaking the legs. So I would say be careful. This is the reissue, so I would expect them to have fixed those issues by now. I don't know where the actual that is weird. Where is the thing that shows that he is the reissue? Is it underneath here? Doesn't show. I believe it's gonna be in, I think, maybe one of the faces. I don't know. That is weird. Is it on the hat? No, it's not on the hat. That is odd. I will say, be careful with the hat. It is a very thin, not string, but a plastic section. A plastic string for that. Kicking forward. Yeah, that is definitely the biggest issue. I don't know what they did with these legs, where they have a big, giant section here just blocking the figure. I know it's meant to be seamless, I guess, but it doesn't work. Kicking forward is about this far, and kicking backwards is about this far. So it's pretty bad kicking backwards and forwards. So that's definitely one of the biggest issues. Now, these sections of the pants are literally just reused from the Raider no Shigama Luffy. So he does have the thigh swivels, of course. So nice to have a thigh swivel. This one is a little bit tight. This one is pretty fluid. They did fix the hinge right here. So Raider no Shigama used to actually have a hinge, but they just completely sealed it for no reason. But they fixed it here, which is great. I don't know how much you're going to use that. Mostly because now moving into the arms and legs, the arms, you can get them higher than a T-pose, which is great. That's awesome. You can also rotate them 360 degrees if you wanted to. Definitely a weird way of doing it. No bicep swivel, but you can get around it like this. This is meant to bend. So this is supposed to be completely made out of rubber. And I'm definitely going to be pushing its limits as well, just to see how much it can bend. So there's already like wrinkles onto the figure, which is fine. I don't think that's a big issue. But if you're going to have something that is bendable, maybe the wrinkles is not the greatest idea. I feel like the arms should have been the only thing that could bend. So you can bend the wrist sections as well. So bending it will get you about like 90 degrees, especially with probably a little bit further if you definitely push it. But I don't want to break it. Like, again, the issue with bending limbs like this is that it's going to push back. And the more it pushes back, it's just going to downgrade the material. The more you try to force it, it's just going to damage the material, so on and so forth. He does have a range hist, which is fine. I have no issue with it. But articulation-wise, in terms of the arms and legs, that is definitely the biggest offender, mostly because we do have poses like this on the actual box where he's supposed to do that. Now, if I'm able to do that on the actual figure, on the pictures and everything of the sorts, great, awesome. But so far, I don't really see it. Now, the legs, you can see, you can also bend them however you want. The legs are more bendable, for sure. They are sculpted a little bit nicer than the actual arms. The arms, I don't know, it feels like a stronger or a thicker material, thicker bendable material, which I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's definitely not so far. So with the legs, you can bend them about this far backwards. You can bend them forwards if you want as well. So about 90 degrees on those. Again, I would just be careful as to how much you're bending the figure. If you're going to have them in a pose for a very long time, it's definitely going to be an issue perhaps. Going forward is the regular Luffy feet. He has no toe hinge, by the way. He does have soft flip-flops though. I will say, actually, I kind of like this not having a toe hinge. In my opinion, I think the biggest fault that I always had with Luffy, just the regular Luffys, is that the flip-flops always went forward and the hinge was just so loose that I hated holding him. And he couldn't really stand correctly for some reason. So yeah, there's that. So this is almost 10 minutes already. Let's move on into the accessories because he has some good ones, but I wouldn't say they're perfect. Well, accessories are actually pretty good. All right, so in terms of accessories, this guy actually comes with quite a bit now that I think about it. So he comes with 4 separate faceplates. We come with like the really goofy one, which I really like the look of this. Although I will be careful. will say be careful with this, because if you drop it, it might break, and I do not look forward to that. Hopefully not. That doesn't happen. A nice, also goofy expression with this character with a very big chin or mouth. A nice grinning expression, which looks really confident, and I love it. Whoops. See, that's what I mean with dropping things. And another expression where he's kind of like angry and shouting. There is a little defect on the tooth. No. That's a big... Oh, wait. No, I think... Did I take it off? I think I took it off. Who knows? We do have a Reito Noshigama figure head sculpt. Additional head sculpt where he is transforming into Gear 5. So this is a really nice addition to sort of hand extending hands. Two fists, which is nice. Two fists is always great. And two bigger fists to hold his lightning. So the lightning is right here. You can take it apart, which is great. Love it when they do that. Put it on the hole. Put the other section on the hole. And there you go. You have a lightning effect holding piece for your figure. That's awesome. And then the more sort of like intriguing thing is the giant bendable arms. And I gotta say, these are a lot easier to bend for some reason than the ones on the actual figure. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's just because the actual thing, it's bigger and longer, of course, so you can bend it easier. It has a much easier time to bend, and I like that. So, yeah, I like it. It's an okay figure. I don't think it's the greatest figure ever. They definitely rushed this figure, in my opinion, especially with the hype around Gear 5. Which I also have a big issue with that, with them rushing figures, especially with two figures that came out recently. You guys know which ones. But I do have a big issue with them rushing out figures, and even sometimes holding on to figures for years upon years, or even months at this point. But going into my final thoughts, this figure is okay. I kept hearing people say that it was like not really that good. He's okay. He's not the greatest, but I do think that the super modeling and super action that they tried to sort of like the bendable aspect of this figure was definitely a concern for a lot of people when it came out, or when it was announced, and it definitely is a big issue when he is here. The legs having such a weird sort of like diaper area or pelvis section is so jarring. Like, he doesn't move them forward. I don't know what they did, why they switched it up, but it's definitely the worst change out of the regular Reito Noshigama Luffy figure. I think they definitely could have done a lot better with that. It was literally just grabbing that set of pants or shorts, putting it onto this figure, changing the legs so they're bendable, like the bottom section of them, and you're good. And they also made it so you can move the hinge on the back, which, in my opinion, this one doesn't need, because the legs are bendable. They don't have a hinge to go back and forth, so what's the point? So again, it's a very weird predicament where they have a lot of questionable aspects of this figure, and some of the good ones are not really good enough to actually make it stand out. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give this figure a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's pretty decent. Decent at best, of course. So I think 7 is a fitting number. 7 is good. 7 is decent. It's pretty much a C. A C plus, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, that is pretty much all the time I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this figure, because I know a lot of people were excited about this figure. I myself really was not. Again, I'm not a big One Piece fan. I just like the designs. This design is cool. Not my favorite, but it's okay. Again, this figure felt rushed, and even some of the QC issues that could have been fixed for this figure were definitely not fixed. I do like that he gets a stand included onto the figure, so there's that. The accessories are actually pretty cool. I just think that they definitely could have done a lot better with the base figure itself. So yeah, and also the pricing, pretty big. It's like $80, and I do not like that. Yamato was $90 to $95. That's already insane pricing. So $80 is a very steep price. This figure should at most be $70, but that's another topic of discussion for another video that might not ever be made. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this figure down in the comments below. But besides that, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.